this whole thing with destiny. I mean, some people think, well, okay, God's got a destiny, let's get into God, find out what that is, and then just live it. How would you see that? From a point being, I think you were talking earlier about we have dreams.
Yes.
So, who's doing the dreaming here?
Yeah. Well, I really believe that God is concerned about the things we're concerned about. He does allow us to dream in a way that even is beyond what we would say, this is the will of God for us. You know. So, you know, he says if we will delight ourselves in the Lord, He'll give us the desires of our heart. We typically see that as when we are delighting in God, He will give us the desire that we're supposed to have. And out of that, He will fulfill that desire. And I think that's absolutely true. That happens. I've felt that and known that. But I also believe that there are things that come into our heart as we are in the atmosphere of delighting the Lord. And the Lord will say, oh, I like that.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea, you know. It was like with David, you know, Solomon said it was in the heart of my father David to build the temple. Didn't say it was in the heart of God.
Right.
It was in the heart of his father David to build the temple, and the Lord said, it's okay, you know, I don't need a place on earth, but let's do that, you know, and God, and he cooperated with God in establishing that.
Now, the other thing is that you were brought up in church, and so people could say, well, hey, you know, you've had a great start in life. But what about when we don't get a good start in life and things don't, you know, we haven't got the best, you know, beginnings. And I'd like to just ask Deborah to come in there. I mean, that for you, David, it's like, were your parents pastors?
No. They were always parts of the church, part of the leadership in church.
And you just got to live in church.
I had the privilege of being raised by two very authentic believers.
Right. Yeah, wonderful.
That was a real privilege.
And so with that, you can say, well, that's okay. I mean, you were raised.
Right.
But what about your beginning, Deborah?
Well, my birth beginning, you mean, well, a bit shaky, to say the least. My birth mother was a 12-year-old child that was raped by a family member, actually. And she wasn't, she had some mental disabilities as well. And so even in the church world, even in Christians' heart that really believe against abortion and all that, so many of them, when they hear the circumstance of my birth, if they don't know it's me, they really have a question whether that would be a case that maybe that would be okay. You know, here's a child that's raped, and becomes pregnant, and she's mentally incapacitated. You know, just all those reasons. And so their value is not so much, it's circumstantial, and they don't realize it. And when I say, well, that was me, that I was that child that was conceived, and you have just pretty much decided my life was not worth saving. And it really is awakening to like, oh, wait, so why do I believe what I believe? You know, is it circumstantial, or is it really based on the value of life and of God's dream for us?
Very good.
And I had a wonderful childhood. The parents who adopted me, I felt loved and accepted from the. I never felt ashamed, or I just always thought very treasured and chosen. But the aspect of dreaming with God, even though you have wonderful parents or you had a terrible childhood, it still comes down to having a revelation of the goodness of God to be able to step into our journey.
Here is a love that burns for